seems to me the Board of Trustees is really key in everything that we're talking about here. And I'd agree with the comment. These are refreshing comments from people obviously very self-responsible. So we've got sort of three classifications of members of the Board of Trustees. We have attorneys who are appointed by the Supreme Court, two attorneys appointed by the legislature, and the report indicates six public members. It doesn't say who appoints them or who selects them. So, but my question is, number one, from where does the Supreme Court get candidates for them to suggest and appoint to the Board of Trustees? And they're probably largely from larger firms, as Ms. Chen is, but are there sole practitioners among that group? And number two, from where does the legislature gather its candidates for its appointments? And the third is, from where do the public members come? Do they apply? And who appoints them? And what's the sort of procedure and rationale for appointing them?
If I may.
Sure, Ms. Chen.
I think I can answer the question as it relates to Supreme Court nominees. And there is a committee that vets them and makes recommendations to the Supreme Court on folks who apply or who are nominated. My understanding is that the Supreme Court does strive to have a diversity of views and backgrounds represented amongst the appointees, as Chair Duran mentioned. We currently do have a solo practitioner attorney, Supreme Court appointee on the board right now, Mr. Mark Broughton. We have government lawyers. So it's not accurate to say that it's all big firm lawyers. I believe I may be the only big firm lawyer. And so there are a diversity of views. There are government lawyers. The State Bar does provide a matrix to the board that shows the geographic distribution, the expertise, the types of law practices that the various current board members have, and that's to ensure that the Supreme Court can make sure their appointments reflect a diversity of backgrounds and viewpoints.
I was, interestingly enough, I was approached by one of your former colleagues, Senator Holly Mitchell. I never even knew the State Bar existed, had no interest in coming to the State Bar, and through her recommendation found myself in conversation with the governor's office. And quite honestly, I share this story, so I don't think I'm speaking out of turn. I said, absolutely not. I don't think that I'm duly tasked for that. But it has been, I shared that I've spent a career fixing, building, and connecting. And it has been an actual pleasure, an absolute pleasure to be able to bring those skill sets to bear. I also serve, my colleagues from the governor's office are Mark Toney, who is the executive director of the Utility Ratepayer Network, and then also Jose Cisneros, who serves his day job as the treasurer of the city and county of San Francisco. Currently, there is a vacancy as it relates to a gubernatorial appointee. The other piece that I would add, Mr. Niello, is that I also serve as the one of two appointment liaisons. And so the same diversity that we ensure to now reflect on the Board of Trustees is what we aim for as it relates to the commissions and the sub-entity appointments that we make. And I believe it's about 14 to 16. And so my colleague behind me, the vice chair of the board, Mr. Brandon Stallings, who is from the Central Valley, and I am from here in Northern California, Sacramento to be exact. We have the honor to make recommendations, go through the applications, and we look for geographic diversity, we look for ethnic diversity, orientation, professional diversity, socioeconomic diversity, because those things are important, particularly as a person who was there to protect the public interest. So thank you.
So who does appoint the public members? You mentioned 3 from the governor.
So the governor appoints 4, and then I'll turn it over to my colleague.
Both the Senate and the Assembly each have one as well. One public member each that gets appointed. And I'll just comment to you, Mr. Niello, that I worked for Pro Tem Atkins when I was on her staff when she was a speaker. In relatively short order, I did not, similar to Melanie, come looking for this. She came looking for me, and it's hard to say no to the pro tem when she asks you to do something.
And what are the term limits?
4 years.
After
I'm sorry, sir. I'm sorry. I apologize. 1 4-year term.
1 4-year term?
Yes, sir.
And that's all?
You can be reappointed. Our colleague, Mr. Cisneros, was recently reappointed.
Sequentially, or do you have to go off the board for a period of time?
It can be sequentially.
And is there a limit of terms?
That I'm uncertain.
There is for Supreme Court appointees. I believe there is a limit of 2 terms.
But we can get that answered for you, sir.
Okay, thank you.